Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. It has been a really long time and I've been meaning to film this video for so long, so I finally decided to just get on and do it. If you are new here, my name is Michelle and I am just one half of Mummy and Mini Me. I'm normally with my daughter Ava, who is now nearly 10, but yeah, she doesn't really like doing these sit down talky videos, and yeah, so I thought I'd just do this one on my own. But I am going to talk about the Disneyland Paris off-site hotels because we have stayed in quite a few now. I've got the list in front of me actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've stayed in 8 off-site hotels. We've stayed in a lot because we had annual passes for 2 years. So it was cheaper for us to stay off-site. But if you are thinking about staying off-site, just make sure you double check the Disney hotels first, because sometimes by the time you have paid for your park tickets, it's not actually as cheap as you might think. The park tickets are really expensive. Obviously, when we had our annual passes, we didn't need park tickets, so that's why we stayed off site. But I would always check first, because sometimes it may work out cheaper or about the same or not much more to stay on site, and sometimes that can be easier. You also get your extra magic time. And just staying in the Disney bubble as well. But if it is cheaper for you to stay off-site, or you just want to, or maybe you're going for a week and you only want a couple of days at Disneyland Paris, then obviously that will be cheaper to stay off-site. Also, I know a lot of people, including myself, have sometimes booked one night before you move to your Disney hotel or after the holiday, or both, so that you are ready. And you know, so if you're traveling, you can stay in a cheaper hotel for the night and then move on to your Disney hotel the next day when your park tickets start. So yeah, you might find this really helpful. Now, I also want to say that we have never stayed in a bad hotel. We've been very lucky. So even the hotels at the bottom of this list, I would stay again. There's no hotel we've stayed at that I'm like never again. But there's just, you know, certain reasons why some might be better. So depending on what you're after, the ones at the bottom of the list might actually be better for you. It depends, I think, and I'll go through that as I go through each hotel. I think it does depend on the sort of trip you want, who you're with, what time of year you're going as well, as always impacted on which hotel I've booked. But yeah, so let's start. So the one at the bottom of the list, I'm going to rank them. So the one right at the bottom, again, there was nothing wrong with the hotel. It's really location. We didn't spend much time at this hotel. It was 12 hours probably, if that even. It's the Premier Class in Bussy Saint-Georges. I will put a picture up as I'm talking, just so you can see, you know, if you are looking on booking.com or anywhere, you can see exactly which hotel it is, which one I'm talking about. And I'll also link below in the description any room tours that we've done. I'm pretty sure we have room tours for all of these hotels. Even before we started vlogging, I think we've then stayed in them again. So there should be one for everyone. So I will link those down below as well, so you can have a look. But yeah, so the Premier Class, the only reason I probably wouldn't stay here again, after I saying before that I would stay in any of them, it's just location. No bother that it's in Bussy Saint-Georges. It's only 2 stops away on the RER train. But with our luggage, walking from the RER station in Bussy Saint-Georges, it was a good 10 minutes. So when we were only arriving, going to the hotel, sleeping and getting up and leaving again, it was just that little bit too far. Now, if you've got a car, it would be absolutely fine. There's also another B&B hotel and a Campanile hotel all in that same area, and I'm pretty sure they would probably be okay as well, but I haven't stayed at them, so I don't know for sure. But yeah, it was just, we felt safe walking through there. It was an evening, but it was in April, so it was light at that time. I didn't do it in the dark. But the next morning, I didn't want to walk back to the RER, so I actually decided to get an Uber instead to Disney. Which then obviously costs slightly more than getting the train, but I just found it was easier. The actual hotel, we didn't use anything. I think there is a restaurant or a bar or something. We didn't go in it, There's not much else in it. It's a very basic hotel, so there's obviously no swimming pool or play areas or anything. The room was fine. It was a little bit small maybe, but not too bad. And obviously we were there for one night, so it was what we needed. We paid £50 for this hotel, so, you know, it was totally fine for what I paid and what I wanted it for. I don't think I'd want to stay there for longer than that one night. Like I say, I felt safe in the hotel as well. The bathroom was very small. The shower, I did feel like I was a bit squished. So yeah, that wasn't very big. But again, like I say, it's a perfect one night hotel, especially if you've got a car. You don't need to worry about the RER, or if you're just happy to get the Ubers. It's not a long walk at all if you were just walking without your luggage, but just with luggage, and with it being, you know, me and Ava, I was the only adult, so I was trying to carry all the luggage. And yeah, so that just put me off a little bit. If I ever do that again, I'll make sure I get a hotel like right near the RER, I think. So the next one on my list is the Ibis in Val d'Europe. This isn't the budget. We've never stayed at the budget, and I've heard quite bad things about that, so I probably would never stay there. They're right next door to each other, these hotels. Again, I'll put a picture up so you can see which one. The one I'm talking about is the red one. The budget is the blue one. So we stayed in the red one. Now, this for location is actually brilliant because we came off the RER at Val d'Europe, which is only one stop from Disneyland Paris. And we looked up and there was a hotel just straight in front of us. So the location for this one is brilliant. I definitely would stay here again. We had 2 nights in this hotel. Again, that was very cheap. I think I paid £120 for 2 nights. When I look now though, it does seem to be a little bit more than that. I think it's been about that for 1 night. So it's not quite as cheap as it was when I booked it. This is, I think it was August 22 when we stayed there. So yeah, but it's a really nice hotel. Again, it is basic, you know, there's not that many amenities. We didn't use a restaurant in the evening or the bar, but we did have breakfast in there. Breakfast was very cheap. I can't remember the exact cost, but it was a really cheap price. And it was a continental breakfast, so there was no hot food, but there was actually plenty there for us to fill up on. I still felt very full. We didn't pre-book this, it wasn't included in the booking. We did pay for it when we got there, but yeah, it was a really good price. So I would do that again, and yeah, the food was really nice. But the room is lovely, very spacious. The bathroom reminded me of being on the Disney cruise, just how the room was. But again, plenty of space, really nice in there. You'll see from the room tour. And yeah, no problems with this hotel at all. I think the only reason why it's down below the bottom of the list is because there's no amenities. So, you know, the ones that have them have gone higher up my list. But again, perfect hotel to stay for 1 night or 2 nights. We actually stayed here. We arrived, stayed there that night. And then the next day we went into Paris, and then we stayed that night, and then the next day we went to Disney and then moved on to a different hotel. So it was perfect for that, easy to get into Paris because again, you're right by the RER. You also can easily walk into Val d'Europe and go to the shopping centre and all the restaurants and everything in there. That was only a very short walk to there. So I would definitely look again. I have looked at this hotel for later this year. Stay tuned to find out more about that later on. But yeah, I was hoping it was going to be a little bit more cheaper, but I would definitely, I'd stay here again. Like, please don't be put off by it being low down on my list. It's perfect for that. Like, I would stay, if I wanted to go as well for a really cheap trip, and that was cheap for the whole of our stay, then I would stay there for the whole trip as well. It's not one that I would recommend just for 1 night. I would say 2, 3 nights. Would also stay there as well. So yeah, another good one. Then next on my list, we have the B&B Hotel at Disneyland Paris. Is what it's called. It's not obviously right at Disneyland Paris, it is an off-site hotel. Now there is, if you haven't been before, there is this area where there's 5 off-site hotels. We have stayed in all of them, so I will be talking about all of them. Again, there is nothing wrong with this hotel. We've stayed there twice, so obviously we didn't mind this at all. We've stayed once for 3 nights in for Halloween, or not actually for Halloween, but in October. I think it was like the week before Halloween. And then we've also stayed when we went for New Year, and that was for 4 nights. So we've stayed there for a good length of times and been totally fine with it. The rooms are not massive, but plenty big enough for us to. Very clean. You get breakfast included, it's continental breakfast, but again, when we went the first time, I wasn't that impressed with the breakfast, but the second time, I think maybe because everything with COVID was back to normal, the breakfast there was a bit more choice, then it was fine, and we again filled up on it, and yeah, it was fine. And there is a bar in the evening, the same room as the breakfast. We've actually never used that. There is a little arcade bit. There is some machines where you can get hot drinks and some food as well. There is a shop. Now, we've actually never been in the shop, I don't think, just because when we've stayed here, I've booked this because I know that we're going to spend most of our time in the parks. So I think by the time we've got back, or when we've left, it's just never been open. So we've actually never been in the shop. But yeah, I've sort of booked this. It's sort of been the wintry time that I've had this booked, because I know that we pretty much are going to be in the parks all the time. Although I say that actually on New Year's Day, because we did the New Year's Eve party, we did have a bit of a lay-in on New Year's Day, but then we just laid in, and then once we were up, we were back in the park. So yeah, it's perfectly fine. I like this hotel. Again, sometimes it just depends on the price, but yeah, this hotel is perfectly fine. Now, the only problem with this hotel is probably, and for all the other hotels on this little strip, is going to be the shuttle bus. Now, if you've watched my videos before, when we've stayed at any of these hotels, obviously I've talked about this before. It doesn't overly bother me in Ava, like busyness, lots of people. Like, I'm very lucky that Ava's not bothered. I'm not bothered, so we just get on with it. It can be annoying, but it has never ruined our trip. We've actually just sometimes laughed about it, and then we forget about it anyway. You do have to be careful of pickpockets though when waiting to get on these buses. But it might not be so bad going into the parks, because sometimes they'll have a bus come to your hotel, maybe go to 1 or 2 other hotels and then go into Disney, but coming back, they go to all 5 hotels. So obviously you can imagine how many people that is when you've got 5 hotels worth of people trying to get home, especially after the fireworks. Some people opt to get an Uber home instead because they don't want to use the shuttle buses a lot. Some people get really upset by how busy it is, which is totally understandable, because it is crazy. It's really crazy. We've never Ubered, we've never walked, we've always got the bus and always managed to get the bus. But yeah, but it's just a little warning, if you think you might not like that, then maybe these hotels aren't for you. Or maybe you get the bus in and, like I say, you Uber back. It is a shame though when there's a free shuttle bus offered for you to then have to pay extra to get back. But you know, you can always obviously give it a try, see what you think. Yeah, but that is just probably the one bad thing to this hotel and any of these hotels. Yeah, it's just so busy. I would, after the fireworks, if you can, I mean, if when the fireworks finish at 11 o'clock, it's always a bit of a worry about how long. I would maybe check with your hotel what time the last bus is, because there was one time when we actually, according to the bus driver anyway, it was the last bus, and we had gone pretty much straight after the fireworks had finished. So that's the only problem when the fireworks are 11 o'clock. So if you hang around, I wouldn't want you to miss the last bus, so just make sure you check that. But if you know you've got plenty of time, so if I'm sure that was 1 year, and I think a year later, I'm sure that the buses did actually go later. So again, just check. But say, you know, if the buses don't finish till 1 AM, then maybe just hang around for a little bit. But yeah, and I don't think the walk is that bad and that long as well. So if you fancy walking it, then I think there's that option too. But yeah, the next one on my list is the Campanile. So again, this is on that same strip with those 5 hotels. Now this is the B&B is at one end, this is the other end. So they're either ends of this row of hotels. The Campanile was the first off-site hotel we stayed in. We really liked it. We've stayed there twice now. It's been a little while since we stayed there, but yeah, we have stayed there twice. So obviously we like it enough to stay again, and I would stay again. They do a buffet breakfast and it's hot food as well. It's a very good breakfast, I think. I know some people have sometimes said it's not nice, but we've always enjoyed it. So if having a buffet hot breakfast is important to you, this is usually included in the price of your holiday. Obviously double check that. But yeah, they do have that option. They do a dinner buffet as well, but we've never had it, so I can't confirm what that's like. In the summer when we were there, we actually did stay Monday to Friday, so we were there for a good length of time. They had a big bouncy castle and a little bouncy castle, so that was quite nice for the kids to have. There's also the little farm as well, which the kids or anyone really likes to have a look at. So there's, you know, a couple of little things there extra, which is why it's a little bit higher up my list to do and see. You know, if you need to have a break from the parks, you can go back and do that. There's no swimming pool, which is kind of one of the reasons why we hadn't stayed there the last couple of summers, because Ava does like to have a pool. But yeah, and there's a nice bar area with the arcade in there. We have sat in there before. There is a shop as well, a Disney shop. It is a Disney partner hotel. Some of these are and some aren't. But yeah, it's a really nice hotel. It does share the same shuttle as the B&B. So, you know, that downside is the same. This one's the B&B, like I say, is one end of the strip. This is the other end. So with the buses, sometimes they'll drop off at the B&B first and Campanile last. Sometimes it's the other way round. I don't know if there's a pattern to it or they just do whatever they fancy when they get there. But yeah, sometimes you could be first drop off. When it's been really, really busy at the night on a night time, me and Ava actually always hope that we're the last drop off when we've been on the ends, because, you know, if we have actually managed to get a seat and we're sat down but the whole bus is rammed, we don't fancy trying to get off with the first drop off. So when we stayed at the B&B last time, we were always like, please be the last drop off, and we were. When they went to Campanile, we were actually pleased to wait, because then by the time it got to B&B, it was like, you know, quite empty, or getting emptier by then. It was a lot more space. So, but yeah, so that is another really nice hotel. Quite good for kids. Oh, there's a little play park as well. It is a very small park, but the good thing with that is when you're waiting for your bus to pick you up, it's right there. So we could wait for the bus and Ava would have a little play on the park. But they're close enough that, one, you can see them, and two, you know, when the bus comes, you can just say the bus is coming, or they'll see. So yeah, it sort of gives them a little something to do while you're waiting as well. And I'm pretty sure the staff have always been okay when we've stayed there. Definitely a good option if you want a cheaper hotel, but one with maybe something a little bit in it. It usually comes up as, it's usually the Campanile and the B&B are one of the cheapest on that strip or that row of hotels. So if that's what you're looking for, something a little bit more affordable, then this is a really good option. Okay, so next we have the Grand Magic, previously called the Magic Circus. It was called the Magic Circus when we were staying there. Now it has changed since we were there, so this may not be a fair, I mean, it's middle of my list, but it may not be a fair review of it, because it is like all been upgraded. It looks amazing. We haven't been in it since it's been finished, but from the pictures it looks really nice. We stayed here on Ava's birthday trip with my mum and dad, so we shared a room with them. The room was lovely and big. We had a double bed and then bunk beds. Really lovely room. I don't think the rooms have changed. They weren't doing the rooms, they were doing the rest of the hotel. But yeah, we liked this hotel. It was going through a renovation at the time, but it actually didn't affect us at all, apart from the fact that obviously, you know, we went to the bar one night and the bar was kind of like a makeshift bar. I think it wasn't its normal bar, and obviously the new one wasn't finished. But we went into, we had buffet breakfast, hot food again, which was very good. We really enjoyed that. So that should it was included in our holiday, so I think it normally is, but again, double check. We did actually also have the dinner buffet here as well, which we really enjoyed. Only thing I think we said was the desserts weren't that, there weren't that many desserts to choose from, which is quite unusual for a buffet, but yeah, but the food was really nice. We enjoyed that. I don't know if that would have changed since then. I think we're coming up, it's 3 years since we come, because Ava's 10 soon and she was turning 7. Yeah, so 3 years since we went there now. Wow, can't believe that. But yeah, it's a really nice hotel. If you look at the pictures of it now, it does look stunning. The sort of reception area, the lobby and that looks really nice. Like I say, the rooms were good, staff were really good, the food was good. So yeah, no complaints at all. I think it is just a bit lower on my list because maybe we didn't see it in its full, you know, like I say, it was being renovated at the time. It does have a swimming pool as well, which we did use a little bit. We were only there for a few days. Well, no, we were there for 4 days, but we had 3 days in Disneyland Paris. So obviously we wanted, when we were there, we tried to maximise our time while we were there. But we did use the pool one evening for a little bit, and it had a big pool and then a really tiny pool for really little children. So that was quite good. But probably not the best pool that we've had in these hotels, which is why it's probably a bit lower down. But yeah, we stayed there really because it was one that Ava had really wanted to stay at, and obviously with it being her birthday, that's why I chose that one. But yeah, and it didn't have a shop when we were there, but I would have thought it does have a shop now. Actually, I'm not sure, because the Grand Magic and the Dream Castle, I think, are the same like company, and they're no longer partner hotels, so it might not have a shop. Actually, there was no shop when we were there because it was all, you know, upside down, but so I'm not sure about the shop. And I don't think this one has, again, unless it was just because it's been renovated, no play area or anything. So it has a few more amenities than maybe the Campanile. Looks a bit nicer, you know, and you've got the swimming pool if you need it, but yeah, not, you know, not any play areas and things. So, but, and again, another great hotel. So next on my list is the Explorers Hotel. Now, sometimes I think this one gets a bit of a bad rap, but we absolutely loved it. Ava loved it. It is brilliant for kids. The theming is perfect for kids. It's sort of like a pirate theme, so it is very kid friendly. It has a really good swimming pool with slides and everything, so Ava absolutely loved that. I'm not really one for swimming. I don't like going swimming, but she loves it. So yeah, this is definitely the best place for a swimming pool. Might not be overly warm in the pool, but I think that is just France in general. But yeah, it's a really fun pool with, I think there's a couple of slides. It's got one of them big bucket things that every now and then falls down or over you. So the pool is brilliant. There is also like a 3D thing inside. You have to pay for it. I don't know if it was ever open when we were in there, but we didn't do it, so I don't know what it's like, but that's just another thing that you can do. There was an indoor soft play as well, which Ava did use once, and there's also a really good park outside. We didn't use it much. We used it a little bit on our last day because it was really hot when we were there, so it was a bit too hot to be outside on the park. But this is why in the summer, especially if we're there for a good sort of, this trip was 6 nights. So we had a good, you know, amount of time, and it was nice to be able to go back to the hotel for a little bit, have a break in the pool and go back to the parks later. So if we're there for a short trip and we know that we're going to spend most of our time in the parks, I feel like there's not much point having a swimming pool or, you know, lots of things to do at the hotel because we're not going to be at the hotel much. But if we're there for a longer trip and when it's hot and the parks are open for a long time, you know, they're open to 11 in the summer, which personally I love, because I love it when you can go early, go back for a bit and then go back later on, and yeah, or just have lots more time to be in the park. But yeah, it just means it gives you a chance to have that break. So then it's quite good to have things to do, obviously, in your hotel, because you might not always want to go back and sleep or just chill. You might want to do something, but just something different. So yeah, this is a really good one for that. Again, you do have that shuttle bus. So if that is not for you, then this hotel might not be for you, but for kids, it is brilliant. Some people have said the rooms aren't very nice. We loved our room. It was absolutely massive. I think in all hotels, you have to just expect that they're not going to be perfect. And, you know, because they don't keep on top of them, obviously, all the time. So yeah, we had a double bed. Bearing in mind, this was just a standard room for 2 people, a double bed, and then there was a big area with a sofa. I think it was a sofa bed, but we had a sofa anyway, and a table, and then wardrobes, and then we had a bathroom and a separate toilet, and it just felt massive. We couldn't believe it when we got in there. It was lovely and spacious, you know, considering we just have a room, you just sort of fits your bed in and that's it. So to have all that space, again, you can see that on our room tour. But yeah, we really loved staying here. It was a really nice hotel. It is one of the more expensive hotels in that row. That's the only problem really. The Grand Magic, the Explorers and the Dream Castle are a little bit more expensive. So like it all depends maybe on when you're going and who you're going with and your situation and what you want to do. But the only thing I would say is sometimes by the time you've paid for these hotels and added your park tickets on, it might not be any cheaper than just staying on site. But you do get breakfast included in this hotel. Again, check that, but we did. It is a continental breakfast, but you can pay for some hot food when you're in there. Now we didn't because I just couldn't be bothered to queue up and pay and do all that. So we stuck to the continental breakfast, which was absolutely fine, filled us up quite well. But yeah, so there is breakfast there, quite a big hall, quite a few different things to choose from. But yeah, we loved this. And I don't know if she would say it now, because it's been a couple of years since we stayed there, but at the time I know Ava definitely said that was her favourite hotel she'd stayed in, and I think really it probably still is, because it's definitely aimed at her, at kids, but I think just because she's very in the moment, she'll say probably the last hotel we stayed in or something is her favourite. It changes all the time, but yeah, I think kids would just absolutely love this hotel. Now the next 2, we've got 2 more left. And I found it really hard to choose which one to go top, for different reasons really. But the next one that I decided to go with is the Adagio Sirius. Now this is the last hotel that we stayed in. So if you saw our last Disneyland Paris series, it's that hotel. The best thing about this hotel is the location. It's kind of the only, well, not the only one, but it's such a short walk to the parks. We never once got the bus to the parks. If we'd have walked out and the bus was there, we probably would have jumped on, but because we walked out and it wasn't, we just walked. It's a 10-minute walk, 15 minutes at the most, maybe 15 minutes to actually get to the gates of the parks, but to get to Disney Village, 10 minutes, and also obviously that means no shuttle bus. The shuttle bus wasn't as bad anyway, because I think it does 3 hotels. We did get it back a couple of times after the fireworks and it was fine. It wasn't as busy, but we did also walk back, and we walked back on our first night really late, 11:30, midnight. Other people were doing it. It's well lit. We felt safe. There's only obviously me and Ava on our own, and we felt perfectly safe. You do actually also walk past the police station, so that kind of makes you feel even more safe. But yeah, the location of this place would make me stay here time and time again. Yeah, and also when you come, so if you arrive at Disneyland Paris by car and park in the car park, or if you arrive by RER, or you arrive by the shuttle buses staying in those other 5 hotels where the shuttle bus is a bit crazy, you all come in the same entrance, so the security can be a little bit busier. There are lots and lots of lanes, but it can be busy, especially in the morning. Now, the way we come in the other side, we never once had to queue to go through security. Every time we walked straight through, no matter whether we were getting there for early magic time, you know, at peak time of the park opening, middle of the day, later on in the day, it didn't matter what time, we walked straight through security. So that was a massive plus as well. Now the actual hotel I thought was really nice as well. We quite liked our room. It's like a little studio. You can have apartments as well, because it's just the two of us. We just had a studio. So it was a double bed, and then you had a little kitchen in there as well, which we didn't use. I don't like to go on holiday and cook. So we didn't use it. We put like, I think, one drink in the fridge. But apart from that, yeah, we didn't use the kitchen at all. But there's everything there. There's a dishwasher. There was a toaster. There was a microwave, I think. Your fridge, hobs. So you could do quite a lot on there. You know, we had the TV, a little table, we had a view of the swimming pool, so and the bathroom was really nice. So yeah, really nice room. And then for this hotel, you actually have, it's the only one we've stayed in that's like this, but it has an outdoor swimming pool. Unfortunately, although we booked for July, the weather wasn't that great, but we did use it twice. We had one day where Ava just went in anyway, even though she didn't care, even though the weather wasn't that great, but she was the only one in there. And then we did have like one day when it was quite nice, so it was quite busy, but there was still plenty of like sun loungers, and you know, she could easily get in and swim in there. So that was quite nice as well, to have an outdoor pool. I was kind of looking forward to having a little sunbathe while she was in the pool. Kind of didn't really happen as I planned, but again, obviously this one perfect for staying in the summer, as long as you do get nice weather. But I think because of the location, I would stay there any time if the price was right. We loved walking. We loved that walk to the parks. But yeah, so this is so high on my list because of the location, and the staff were really nice as well. And you still have the option of a shuttle bus. So yeah, I just think this hotel is brilliant. I know a lot of people that have annual passes have stayed in this hotel several times, like more than once. People return there a lot. So, and also you're right in Val d'Europe, so you haven't got far to walk, and you can get to the shopping centre, the RER if you need it. We did actually walk to the RER with our luggage, and it's a little bit of a walk, but it didn't really bother me too much because we just did it the once. No, we did it twice actually. We did it when we arrived and back, but it was easy enough. And you know, there's things to do in Val d'Europe as well, so it is quite we stayed there for 6 nights. We stayed at the one place for the whole time, and yeah, we loved staying there. We just found it really easy. And yeah, like I keep saying, I could recommend this hotel enough. Like, Ava did really like it. There was a little kids area as well. Not so much for older children, more probably for younger children. There's a lobby area you can sit in. So not like loads of amenities there. There's a tiny little shop, like not as in a Disney shop, but where you can get a few bits food-wise if you needed it. We never did. But yeah, there's that as well. So there's not loads of stuff going on there, but it's just the location. Location is just so good. And I believe it does have a car park as well, which obviously we didn't use, but there is a car park if you needed to use that as well. And then finally, my number one off-site hotel is the Dream Castle Hotel. This is also in that row of 5 hotels. So the only downside is you do still have that shuttle bus if you want to use it. It's right in the middle of all the hotels. So yeah, I think sometimes people maybe have struggled to get on a bus. I can't remember if it was that hotel or a different one, but there was one time when we were sort of waiting for the bus and it came and it was already quite full, so we didn't get on it. But actually a couple of minutes and there was another bus that was empty, so it wasn't the end of the world. But yeah, that is the one downside to it, but this is a stunning hotel. It is so nice. It has a lovely lobby area. It has a lovely bar area as well. It has like an indoor kids area, which was quite cool. So I thought that was quite handy. It wasn't soft play. It was more like a sort of playground, but inside, but which I thought was quite good, because I thought if it's raining, they can still play in there. And if it's hot, they can still play in there. So yeah, really good. It has an inside pool and a hot tub, which was quite nice. Ava liked it in there. I spent more of my time in the hot tub than I don't think I went in the swimming pool actually. I think it was too cold for me, like I said, because I don't like it and I can't actually really swim, so I just kind of sit in the water. So if it's not that warm, I just get really cold. So yeah, I didn't spend any time. I think I got in and got straight out again. But Ava likes it. I think there was a little slide in there. And then, like I say, the hot tub. Now, this wasn't open when we went because it was waiting, I think, for the summer. We went in April last year and it was waiting for the summer to come. But they've got a lovely outdoor pool area now. It's the outside grounds are stunning, the gardens and everything. It's so nice. We actually had a lovely view of the outside. But yeah, it looks so nice having the sun loungers out there. I would have loved to have stayed here in the summer, but yeah, this is, I think, a lot of people's favourites just because of how nice the room was. Just so nice. Again, take a look at our room tour. It was massive. It was just such a lovely room. We were very lucky with our view as well. Bathroom was nice. It does have a shop. It's not a Disney shop. It's just a shop where you could buy bits and pieces and I think like their own souvenirs. But I think that's everything that it had. This is the one I wanted to stay in the most because when you're on the bus and you keep going past it, I was like, that looks really nice. It then got renovated. I thought it looked nice even before it got renovated, but it got renovated and it looks even nicer. So we stayed after the renovation was done. But yeah, it didn't disappoint. It was so nice. It was the only reason I was between this one and the Adagio, I think, is the location. And also the Dreamcastle is probably one of the more expensive off-site hotels. It wasn't too bad for us, but I was determined to stay there. So yeah, luckily we did do that. We stayed there for 3 nights. I would stay for longer. Yeah, it's such a lovely hotel. The staff were lovely. We did also have a buffet hot breakfast as well, which was really nice. Loads and loads to choose from. They had a little kids area. Yeah, it was lovely. Really, really loved that hotel. So this one is, I sort of feel though, some people I think do stay there for their 1 night before they move to Disney, and I think that seems a bit of a waste. Because, you know, especially if it's more expensive, so I probably wouldn't do that. But yeah, it was I really do recommend this hotel if you are looking for an off-site where you want a few things to do and a nice hotel. We'll just forget about the whole shuttle issues. But yeah, it's just lovely. It's just stunning, and yeah, I can't praise it enough. But yeah, so that is it. That's all the hotels we've stayed at off-site. There might be another one coming later in the year, which we will tell you more about later on. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you have any more questions about any of these hotels, I'm always happy to answer the questions, either in the comments or you can send me a message on our Instagram, which I'll pop up here now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have room tours for all these hotels. And yeah, so I just hope it really helped someone, if it's just one person. I hope it's helped you, and yeah, we'll see you soon in our next video. Bye.